If you've spent any time gardening, you've probably been told the same thing over and over: compost bins, compost piles, turning, watering, balancing greens and browns. The whole ritual is essential to create rich, living soil. But I'm going to be honest with you. I've followed that method for years, and I finally realized something important. All that effort, all that sweat, and all those rules, they're not necessary. In fact, I'll never make compost the traditional way again. There's a smarter, simpler, lazier approach that works better, faster, and with almost zero effort. And the best part is, it uses the soil itself as the compost bin. If you stick with me for the next few minutes, I'll show you why traditional compost piles often fail, why the soil itself is the ultimate composting tool, and exactly how you can turn kitchen scraps and garden waste into living, nutrient-rich humus without ever lifting a fork. Before we jump in, don't forget to like this video, share it with fellow gardeners, leave a comment with your thoughts, and subscribe to Nature's Flora for more soil-building insights that actually work. On paper, composting seems straightforward. Collect scraps, add some browns, keep it moist, turn it regularly, and wait a few months. In reality, most compost piles end up being frustrating and disappointing. The problem isn't a lack of effort, it's that traditional piles rely on very specific conditions to work properly. To heat up and break down material efficiently, compost requires a carbon-to-nitrogen ratio of about 30:1. That means for every bucket of kitchen scraps, you need 3 buckets of dry leaves straw or shredded paper. Few gardeners maintain that ratio perfectly. As a result, piles either turn slimy and stinky or just sit there, cold and lifeless. Even if you get the ratio right, compost is highly sensitive to weather. Hot, dry days can kill microbial activity, and too much rain turns the pile into a soggy mess. Then there's the turning. Every week you're expected to aerate the pile, which can feel like backbreaking labor. And, when the compost is finally ready, you have to shovel and move it into your beds, a triple dose of work for soil that your plants might not even enjoy until months later. Here's the key insight I discovered. The soil itself is the best compost maker we have. It doesn't need our constant attention, and it does a far better job than any pile could. The method is called in situ composting, or composting in place. Instead of creating a pile outside the bed, you feed the soil directly where your plants grow. Scraps, weeds, and crop residues go straight into the soil, and the microbes, fungi, and worms already living there handle the decomposition. The soil is perfectly balanced in moisture and aeration, and it hosts a full community of decomposers that we can't replicate in a pile. The difference is remarkable. In as little as 3 to 6 weeks, buried scraps transform into black, spongy humus without any odor, hauling, or piles. Aerobic bacteria attack sugars and proteins, fungi digest cellulose and lignin, and nematodes and protozoa feed on those microbes, releasing plant-ready nutrients directly where roots can access them. Earthworms shred the material further, coating it in microbe-rich castings that enhance soil structure. Unlike compost piles, where much nitrogen is lost as ammonia and carbon escapes as carbon dioxide, in-soil composting retains these nutrients right where plants need them. Worm tunnels improve aeration and water retention, while fungal networks connect roots to a natural nutrient pipeline. The soil doesn't just preserve fertility, it amplifies it. Starting is simple. Trenches are one of the most effective ways to do it. Just dig a trench about 25 to 30 centimeters deep right in your garden bed. Then, lay in kitchen scraps such as vegetable peels, eggshells, coffee grounds, and even a bit of shredded cardboard, or dry leaves, to balance the material. When you're done, cover it all up with the soil you removed. In warm weather, the trench disappears into humus in about a month. In cooler climates, 2 months is usually sufficient. Worms move in, microbes do their work, and the trench becomes a fertile strip for your next planting. Rotate trenches across your beds over the season so that each section gets renewed without moving compost around. You can also dig small holes between plants or along pathways and drop a few handfuls of scraps into each hole, creating nutrient-rich pockets that plant roots naturally grow toward. For those who prefer zero digging, surface mulching is, honestly, the ultimate lazy approach. You just lay scraps directly on the soil and cover them with a thick layer of carbon-rich material like straw, wood chips, or dry leaves. This prevents odors, keeps pests away, and allows worms and microbes to gradually pull the scraps into the soil. Over a single season, the mulch collapses into dark, nutrient-rich soil, keeps beds moist, and suppresses weeds. Gardeners who adopt in-place composting often see dramatic results within months. Hard, compacted soils loosen, worm populations explode, crops turn a deeper green, yields improve, and watering frequency drops. The soil becomes living, self-sustaining, and rich in nutrients without the constant effort of traditional composting. In-place composting really flips the entire concept of composting upside down. Instead of controlling the pile, turning it, and hoping for the right conditions, you simply feed the soil and let it do the work. The microbes, fungi, and worms are far more capable composters than we could ever be. If you're ready to revolutionize your garden, embrace this smarter, easier approach. Feed the soil where the plants live, let nature handle the rest, and just watch your beds transform into fertile, thriving ecosystems. Remember, this isn't lazy, it's efficient, effective, and ultimately more rewarding. Make sure to subscribe to Nature's Flora for more practical gardening strategies, share this with a friend still wrestling with compost piles, and leave a comment with your own in-place composting experiences. Let's build soil that works with us, not against us.